Hey, how y'all doing? This is Hunt 919 Truth of Sports coming to you with another segment. I know it's been a while. It's been about 6 or 7 days. Had to take a little break. I had to go out of town, take care of some business, but I'm back. About to pick up from where I left off. I want to attack a new subject. I try to do things differently from everybody else. Because if you listen to all the channels about the Buffs, everybody's basically talking about the same information, which is cool because it brings them views. But I just like to do different things, so I'm gonna get right into it. And I want to talk about something that I think is important, especially to the Buffs. I want to talk about the minority players on the Colorado Buffs team, meaning the white players. So I counted before all this transferring started. It was 99 players that they have on the website, and 33.3% of them, 38 of them were white. So I think that's 33% is basically white players. And I just wanted to talk about what type of effect that could have on them as minority players. And yes, I know most teams are all black players when it comes to football and basketball, but sometimes you have to think about the minority of the players that are in that locker room, especially a locker room like Coach Prime's locker room. Because for one, there seems to be an open locker room, especially before the games and after the games, and it's a very hip hop. It's a very hip hop environment before the game, after the game, and during the game. As you all know, Coach Prime is hip hop. His sons are hip hop. A lot of people on that team, where the majority of that team is hip hop. And I'm talking about from the lifestyle, from the jewelry to how they dress, to how they talk. To the music, some of them are even, rappers. They create their own rap music, so it's really hip hop. And even in the locker rooms, you have a DJ that's playing, a live DJ that's playing hip hop at the home and away games. So you got to think about it. So they've had guests, as we all know, like Cameron, Master P, Lil Wayne, Wu-Tang Clan, Key Glot. Snoop Dogg sent them some things, spoke to him in the conference room. I think DJ Khaled's been there. Offset was there. Shannon Sharp, Terrell Owens, Warren Sapp, Michael Irvin, Kawhi Leonard, and Stephen A. Smith. And basically there's a lot of black players and celebrities on the sideline and in the locker rooms. I don't believe, now I know they play a lot of rap, of course, but I've never heard them play any type of rock and roll. And I know that probably would never happen, but I'm just trying to make a point. Just give us something else to kind of look at when you look at the makeup of that team. Because because I'm gonna give you a couple of names that you probably haven't heard of. Renee Roberts, RVS, HVD, Don Lewis, Brayland, Mickey Gouton, and Shabuzi, I think is his name, or Shabauzi, one of those two. You probably never heard of those names, but those are black country artists. I don't think they play back, black country artists at that in that locker room or in those meeting rooms. You also have white artists like Brian White, George Strait, and Luke Bryan. I'm sure they don't play any of those guys. Those are white country singers, and I'm pretty sure they don't play any of that. So my point is, it seems to be 1,000% hip hop, and you gotta wonder, how does that make those guys feel? You want to know if does it affect them being focused? Does it affect how much they're comfortable around the team and in the locker room? Does that make them want to possibly transfer one day or at some point? I know it's nothing they would never say out loud, but I wonder what the talk is amongst them and their parents. Sometimes when they, and I'm sure they express sometimes, how rap oriented or how hip hop that the team has become and what it is, including, their head coach. And you also wonder, would this affect any future recruits that are coming to Colorado? It's nothing that's far-fetched to talk about, because I know sometimes when you're a player getting recruited, you do look at the area that you're going to. For instance, if I was a big-time player and the University of Iowa was recruiting me, I probably would not consider going there, to be honest with you. And I'm not the only guy. It's a lot of players who think like that, whether you want to believe that or not. But I do want to know if that's affecting the incoming recruits who may consider Colorado. between them and their parents, on top of the things that are coming out with some of these players that are complaining about how Coach Prime dealt with them or whatever. And I know you all, well, I'm not sure if you all saw some of my earlier videos. I talked about the effects that it would have on players and their parents, the mental side of it. You're coming in and you're taking away basically some kids' scholarships. And some of those kids are coming out about that, how they were just cut and wasn't really given a chance. And of course, it took away their scholarship from a great university. So I guess the real question sometime I want to ask myself, or I think we need to ask ourselves is it too hip hop for some incoming players, and even some players that are still on the team, because they would never come out and complain about how the locker room is ran, or how Coach Prime does anything. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what he does. Would that suit me as a black player? It would, to a certain level. I still think the locker room is too open to any and everybody, especially before the game when you're trying to focus. But I personally think everything should be played to yourself within your own headphones, so you can create your own motivation with whatever type of music that you like to listen to. But I guess it's hard to ignore when you have a live DJ playing in your locker room. And you got to think about this too. Most of the guys that were in the trenches were white players, and those were the players that Coach Prime was talking about. And yeah, some of them have already left at this day and time. But you do have to wonder, before a player considers coming to Colorado, do they have to mentally get ready for the environment that they're coming into? Because it's basically a hip hop, friendly environment. And you have to think about that when you go onto a team, because you're going to spend 85% of your time with that team, in that locker room, in those facilities. And whether it's home or whether it's on travel, it's something that you need to think about. So this is just a quick look segment that I wanted to put out there, discussing what could be affecting, if it's any effect at all, on some of Coach Prime's minority players, and what effect that can have on them as far as staying at the school, as far as them being comfortable staying at the school or on the team, and future recruits who are going to come in, who may come into that school or may consider coming into that school. That's one of the things you have to think about is the hip hop environment, the open type of locker room with a lot of hip hop artists, R&B, / black artists, however way you want to put it, constantly around, and being in your presence for the most part. So it was just something that I wanted to talk about, something that I wanted to bring up. I don't really see anybody else talking about it. And it's that, because you can miss out on a lot of good players, especially in the trenches. There are a lot of just like it's great black athletes out there. There are a lot of great white athletes out there, especially when it comes to football and being in the trenches. So it's something to think about. It's a good topic, I think, that should be brought up. And as most of my videos do, whether I get a lot of views or not, I always get a lot of feedback on it. So I'm looking forward to that. It's been Hunt 919 Truth Sports. Ride with me.